let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
We are off and running on a Thursday. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com, at the Rush Radio Android app, or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. Hit that favorites button so we pop up on your phone every time you get into your car with the Android Auto or the Apple CarPlay. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Leave your comments in the comment section. And, of course, follow us on our social media channels. Good morning, Ross Peterson. What's going on there, buddy?
Not much, man. Excited for a fun Thursday here as we race towards the weekend. Quick week for me.
You think? Yeah.
Yesterday was one of those weird days. You know what I mean? Like it was my first day back, and so it felt like a Monday. And then throughout the day, you'd be reminded, like, oh, yeah, that's Wednesday. Yeah.
Is your sleep pattern still a little bit off? Because yesterday, you got on a little early. Usually you hop on with me about 5:40 every morning. Yesterday, it was like 5:15. This morning, it was like 5:25. I'm like, oh, Ross is getting up a little bit early. He's still on Ireland time.
I'm waking up about 3 o'clock. The last 2 days, I've just woke up but I'm getting good sleep. I'm refreshed. But, yeah, waking up at 3 o'clock, and then your body kind of does that thing of like, well, I can get more sleep. And so you lay there, and your brain just spins and turns, and so, anyway.
Yeah, 3 o'clock's not bad. It's better than waking up at midnight going, oh, my God, I'm wide awake, and
that's what happened in
Ireland,
which is way worse. You wake up at 11:30, and you're like, oh, shit, I'm awake. So, no, I'm doing all right, man. The jet lag is it's worth it for the experience I had. So glad to be back, though. I mean, certainly. And I'm still getting messages like, hey, welcome back. Glad to be back. Gonna go.
Are you planning your next trip yet? Are you planning your next trip?
Well,
you've already booked the next trip?
I go to Vegas with my buddies.
Okay.
Every fall. So that actually is next week. But I won't miss the show. I'll leave Thursday after the show, and I'll be doing the show Friday. Next Friday, I'll be doing the show live from Vegas.
Are you doing the Black and Gold Rush from Vegas then, too?
Yes, I am. Yeah. In fact, Trav, we're still working on it. We were talking about it last night. My buddy Ryan Grove, who kind of helped set up this trip, and he and Bency are the two guys that kind of organize a lot of the things. Bency's the one that hooked up with the Vegas I Club the last time we went out there, and we got to watch the game in this super cool Iowa bar. So we were talking about that, like, what does that day look like if we go to a place like that? I think what I'll probably do is leave at like the third quarter break and go back to the hotel and then do the show live from the suite, because otherwise I'd be there at the bar for those 2 hours afterward, and they're going to be tearing down all the Hawkeye stuff.
Yeah. What are you still doing here? Game's over. We've moved on to our next team that we're going to support.
Right.
We're now in West Coast time, and it's time for
Utah stuff is going up behind me.
Yes. What's Ross doing in a Utah bar? Oh man. Well, it's starting to look like, and we're going to go in a lot of different directions today. But I want to bring up some of the stuff we talked about in our pre-show meeting, which is just us, telling jokes and having fun together. We were talking about baseball, and we'll get to Toronto's beatdown of Seattle last night, but it's starting to look like Aaron Boone's not going to get fired with the Yankees. They're making other changes within the organization. And you pointed out that they fired their bullpen coach, and they fired their first base coach. And it got me thinking, what does a bullpen coach do, and what does a first base coach do? Because I look at the first base coach and I understand the importance of the third base coach. And I had Mike Jerschley, who's the former third base coach with the Kansas City Royals, tell me one time, that's actually that's like the closest you can get to being a manager is being the third base coach because there's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
For first base coach, that's like you could have a fan and inning go run first base. I mean, there's a reason, like in Little League, like the dad's the third base coach or the coach or one of the assistant coaches is on third base.
You put an adult at the third base coach.
Yeah. Timmy, you may not see the field today, but put on a helmet, boy. Put on a helmet. You're going to go coach first base. Timmy!
The kid that doesn't play. You're like, hey, Timmy, want to wear a helmet? Want to put on a helmet, buddy? And he's like, yeah. Like, all right, go. You're going to be part of the team. Go stand out there at first base.
We were going to put you in right field, but we think this is a much more important position.
I've been thinking, you know what? Your skill set says to me, coach. First base coach. You got it, buddy. Ready? What do I do? Nothing.
All you have to do is say, lead off.
Stand there.
Come back.
Stand there, and when the guys get to first, high five them and say good job, but don't touch them until they're on the base. Okay, Timmy?
And if you can tell them to get a lead off, and if you feel comfortable, tell them to take one more step or take them to one more step back. Just, they'll listen to you, Timmy.
Yeah, Yankees fire first base coach Travis Chapman. He'd been with the club for 13 seasons, last 4 as the team's first base coach and infield coach. The bullpen coach that they fired is Mike Hawkeye. Does that name ring a bell to you at all? Cub fans?
You were telling me, former Iowa Cubs manager?
Not Iowa Cubs manager, former Iowa Cubs pitcher.
Okay.
Mike Hawkeye had come up through the Cubs organization, through here in Des Moines for a couple years. Man, I want to say, Google would know. I could find out for sure. I'm going to guess 1990. I'm going to guess right around 1990. Give me a 5-year allowance on that.
Okay. The over-under of 5 years from 1990, so it could be 1985 to 1990 or 1990 to 90.
I'm
so it's really
right
a 10. So it's really a 10-year variance that you're asking for.
1988, 1989, 1992. I was right there. Yep.
And Hawkeyes the last member of the Yankees organization that is tied to the last World Series title.
That's the important part of that, right? He was the only remaining member of the last World Series team still in the clubhouse, and he was let go after however long that would be. He'd been there a long time. He was the bullpen coach from 2008 to 2013, and then got that role again from 16 through this year, 25. So that's Yankees are making the important changes, Trav.
You think so?
The things that needed to happen. World Series are going to start piling up again.
You sit down with Aaron Boone and go, why didn't we get to the World Series? Well, I think it was our bullpen coach, and I think it was our first base coach. Okay?
Dude from Iowa nails it. The most important job of a first base coach is one word. Back! That's
and
it.
you can yell that all the time.
Yeah, you can yell that from the stands. I do it all the time.
And first, I wonder how much a first base coach makes. Probably a couple $100,000, right?
Oh, yeah.
If not more.
That's a good question. How much does a first base coach make?
And don't kid yourself. There's a minor league manager within the Yankees organization who wants to be the first base coach because you're flying first class. You're going to big league stadiums.
Dude, you nailed it. You nailed it. 100,000 to 110,000 per year is the Major League Baseball average.
Is that lower than you thought it was going to be, or higher than you thought it was going to be? I nailed it, but it actually I went on the low.
Yeah, it's a little lower than I thought. How about this, Trav? It actually says a general Major League Baseball coach's salary. So you're talking infield coach. Mike Hawkeye obviously is getting up there because he'd been there so long. I'm blown away by this, dude. An average Major League Baseball coach's salary is between $57,000 and $106,000.
That surprises me a little bit. No, it surprises me a lot, actually.
A Major League Baseball assistant coach, average salary is $86,000. A minor league baseball manager is around 129,000. So it's worth more to the organization to be the minor league manager than to be the first base coach. Damn, I'm surprised, but those are low numbers.
I mean, 86,000 is, and there's a lot of people who don't make 86,000. I sound
right,
that. I don't want to sound pretentious here.
But they also don't work for billion-dollar organizations that are charging $100 for parking.
I mean, when you have a defensive coordinator at the college ranks making $2 or $3 million now,
yes, but that's nonprofit, Travis.
That's true. So they have to empty that bank account at the end. It's got to come down to zero. It's got to come down to zero.
Right. They got to spend that money. They got to spend all of our money on those coaches. I mean, those guys that open locker rooms, they're just as important as a first base coach. That's wild. I'm glad we looked that up. I wouldn't have known that.
I mentioned Mike Jerschley earlier, and some people may know him if you're a Royals fan because he was the third base coach, but he's also the Omaha Storm Chasers and former Omaha Royals manager for a long time. And I always wondered, he would go back to Wisconsin. He lived up by Green Bay, and he would work at a furniture store in the summer. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, why are you working at a furniture store? Now you know. I know why.
Yeah. I was just reading an article this morning about how in Seattle, businesses are basically trying to sell their cheaper parking because it's $100 to park at the stadium for the Blue Jays Mariners. Now, Travis, I don't know how many spots there are. They might be able to pay their first base coach's salary with the parking income of a day.
$100 is obscene when it comes to parking. It is absolutely obscene. And do you get a tap and pay as you go into the parking lot, or do they expect cash? You know, hey, it's $100. Do you take tap and pay? No, we need cold hard cash.
I would imagine the guy says, dude, I wish I could take cash. They don't let me take cash because they know I'd keep the cash. Yeah, it has to be electronic. Sorry. Huh.
Wow. $100.
$100 to park. So think about that. First 1,000 cars through the parking lot pays for your first base coach's salary for the year. Next 1,000 cars through the park take care of 2 of your coaches. So businesses in Seattle right now are saying, "Hey, listen, don't give them $100. Come to our place, give us $40, and we'll shuttle you to the stadium." So now you can park off-site for $40, but you got to shuttle.
Got a shuttle, and you got to tip your driver because you know he's driving this bus.
Wild, dude, wild.
You want to know a little secret of mine? And I don't know if I want to do it for a long time. But, you know, Owen and I went to Phoenix a couple weeks ago, and we parked in a remote parking lot at the airport, one you had to shuttle to. Mm-hmm. I think I want to be an airport shuttle driver. I'm sitting there going, I could do this so much better. I would. And what I mean by it is just from a customer service standpoint. You know, I had like this 90-year-old guy driving, and he turns the air conditioner on in there, and then he tries to tell, whatever one you want. Well, none of us could hear him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, there's only like 10 airlines, and it's all on the same thing. It just dropped me off wherever you want to drop me off. But I'm like, okay, I'd get a little speaker, and I'd have a little microphone, say, hey, you know, welcome to the airport shuttle. Hope you guys have a great trip. And I would help people get their bags on and off, you know, because usually it's like open the door and just everybody – I'd be like, hey, can I help you with that bag? I think it'd be fun to drive an airport shuttle for a little bit. Is that crazy?
No,
mindless jobs, right? Where you don't have to think very much.
Well, the one that I was going to say is certainly not mindless at all. And you know this, and we've talked about this. When I was like 18, 19 and kind of trying to find my way, I'm not going to college. I couldn't, and I'm really disappointing myself and all sorts. I did have a moment where I was like, you know what? I want to see the country. I want to travel. I'm going to get a CDL. I'm going to become an over-the-road truck driver. That would be, I love windshield time. I love listening to things. I'm going to be an over-the-road truck driver. And then I think I saw the guys that do that, and they're all built like mountains. You know what I mean? They're all 6'8" and 280 pounds. And I'm like, oh, I'm not that guy. Like, you got to be able to fight a lot lizard. I would lose that fight. I'd lose that fight.
Having grown up with a father that was a truck driver, and I'm going to stereotype, and if you're a truck driver, I don't mean this personally. It's just the way I was brought up, right? I mean, my dad was always, in cowboy boots. He dressed. I wouldn't say he dressed up, but he always had nice jeans on. He always had a pearl snap shirt on, and I see guys get out of trucks today in flip flops and mesh shorts and t-shirts, and I'm like, oh, my dad's turning over in his grave, right? Because that's not a truck driver. But I get it. You want to be comfortable, but yeah, Ross, I think you would have lasted. There's a reason I didn't go into the business, and that's because I watched what windshield time did to my old man. And you've always said windshield time is good, but too much windshield time can mess you up in a big way. Yeah.
So
make you crazy.
Ray says, "What? No way! For fuck's sake, Ross. You think I'd beat a lot lizard? No? Or is Ray saying, no way Ross would have made it as a truck driver? Like, that was stupid of me to think I ever could have been a truck driver. Because that I agree with, Ray. But if you think I'm whipping a lot lizard, I got news for you.
The driftless Iowan says it best. Ross, you love lot lizards, not fight.
Oh, you don't. Oh, you love them away. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you love them away. Come on into my cab. I have a double sleeper, and you get to leave with $150.
How about, so we have Bus who listens to the show, right? And
yeah.
Bus, I think, drives a school bus, right? That's one. So, like, going on my fishing trips with Windstar, I've always thought, now that the bus driver on Windstar, because the bus driver for the fishing trips, Trav, when he gets to Ballards, if they have an open spot on a boat, he gets to fish. And
really?
Now you're telling me that? Yeah, you're telling me you could pay me to go drive up to Minnesota and fish a couple days at Ballards? I'd sign up for that.
Yeah, because, I mean, the bus driver's got to stay up there for the week, right? You're just sitting there going, hey, I
got
just
his own
hanging out.
Got his own private cabin.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to the airport shuttle guy because I'm just going, half mile to a mile each way, letting people on, letting people off. Remember, are you in C4? Are you in B4? B3?
Did you see Ray's comment? I always thought they were just called lot lizards.
Sleeper.
Says, no way on the sleeper leaper.
I've never heard of the sleeper leaper.
Sleeper leaper. That's a good one.
It sounds more. What's the word I'm looking for? Nice? Lot lizard just sounds sleazy. Sleeper leaper sounds romantic.
I'm missing the phrase that they told us in Ireland. I was explaining to them at some point, we were talking about the girls that are obsessed with certain, professions, and I was explaining to them the dirt track waffle bellies.
Yeah,
remember we talked to, I think it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or something that talked about the waffle bellies.
Yeah,
like waffle bellies. He's like, yeah, the girls that stand so close to the chain link fence, their bellies look like waffles. Oh, that's great.
Oh, man. Toronto showed up in Seattle last night. So people paid $100 to park really close to the stadium. Some paid $40 to park and shuttle to the stadium. They probably went to the cars a little bit faster last night to get out, thinking, man, I didn't get my $100 worth of parking. Because Toronto beat Seattle 13-4. Vlad was incredible last night. 4 for 4 at the plate. He also had a walk, Ross. He hit a bomb of a home run to center field. He scored 3 runs, had an RBI. The Toronto poured out 18 hits last night, just dominated the Mariners in Game 3 of the ALCS.
Travis, I said yesterday, I said, man, I feel like if I had to put money on one of these teams to come back, it's going to be Toronto. Even though the Brewers had the better record, the Brewers had the better, got the best of the Dodgers throughout the season. As a Yankee fan, I've watched Toronto be pesky all year long, and not just this year, man. This is this team. They are scrappy. They are talented. Vlad can be amazing. He is, man. It's almost like in the NBA, every now and again you get these guys that show up and they are, for a period of time, they're the absolute best player on the field. You watch the game and you go, this guy's, how is he noticeably better than the other guys out there? And that's Vlad Jr. is every now and again you watch him and you go, it's just different. The way he approaches the plate when he comes. It had that feeling last night like David Ortiz. They had that feeling like
good analogy.
When he comes to the plate, you go, oh, something big's going to happen here. Like he swings the bat too well for it not to happen. Now, he does have moments where his dad was the same way. He does have moments where you watch it and you go, where'd it go? Where'd the guy that was here go? And that could happen tomorrow night. Or do we have a game tonight?
They got a game tonight, and then you got game 3 of the NLCS tonight.
Game 4 tonight, he could look like that guy. But last night's fun to see, and glad that Toronto was able to do that, and it at least makes this an interesting series. Either of these teams went up 3-0. Dodgers go up 3-0. It's over. I already am in that feeling with the Brewers, unfortunately, of like, better luck next year type of thing.
If the Brewers win tonight, do you start to do you inch away from that feeling?
Maybe. Yeah, you have to. You have to if they can get it. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, and if Seattle loses again tonight, then you're like, okay, we got a series again because Toronto's got home field back again. May go 7, may not go 7. I think it's good for baseball that Toronto won last night. The last thing baseball wants here, at least I believe, would be sweeps, right? Because it's not like these games they're not sexy anyway. You don't have big markets. I think it's hard for Americans to jump on the Toronto bandwagon because it's a Canadian team. Call me crazy.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's hard to jump on. It's hard to jump on these bandwagons. Honestly, the Brewers are the only team in this group that I think people in Iowa, of the 4 teams left, I think the Brewers are the only team that you would have some sort of connection to or affiliation with or soft spot for. Seattle, sure, because they haven't won, because they are a team that that's kind of a long-suffering fan base, and they've never really been on top. Toronto, I've seen Toronto win. I remember Joe Carter. They're Canadians. I mean, I know most of them are Puerto Rican, but their team is from Canada. So it's hard to have a connection. Seattle, again, sure.
It's borderline Canadian.
Right. People's Republic of Seattle?
I think what I'd like to see Seattle, because they've never been to the World Series. I like those first timers. I guess if it became, I like when somebody achieves something they've never achieved before. So when you look at Seattle, you go, okay, I'm not a Seattle fan. I can't tell you a lot about the Seattle Mariners. I can tell you about Cal Raleigh because we've talked about him. But I guess if I'm going to root for somebody, because I don't have a dog in this fight when it comes to a team I'm rooting for, but I guess I could go, you know what? I'll go for Seattle just because they've never won a World Series before. And when you get somebody that's never won one before, you're like, okay, that's pretty cool.
It's what's fun, Travis, is to see the fans. I think of being in my dad's living room when the Cubs won the World Series. I think of my friend Mark Charter, as his wife took pictures of him crying. I've never seen Mark be emotional. He cried when the Cubs won the World Series, and I think that a lot of people in our audience would relate to that. Maybe when the Chiefs won their first World Series, or when the Chiefs win the World Series, that's going to be something to talk about.
Wow, look at that!
When the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, I think that a lot of us remember that emotional outpouring that our Chiefs friends had, and that's something that you can. Even from a long distance away, you can watch that and go, that's cool. But that's why the Brewers, if the Brewers could have picked up one of those at home and given a little bit of hope, and maybe a win tonight in Game 3 would do that. It'd spark a little bit of hope. God, maybe you win Games 3 and 4 and you tie this thing up. And then talk about swinging the momentum. Now it's like, wait, now we have home field advantage again. And we get to go back to Milwaukee and try to win this thing there. that would be cool because Brewers fans, like Seattle fans, long-suffering.
515-517-2303 is the number to call. We do have a busy Thursday, as we do each and every Thursday. Todd Steppus, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, is going to be joining us at 7 o'clock. They need to find an offense. They need to find an offense fast because they're not scoring points. We'll talk to Coach Stepsis about that. Bruno's going to step into the studio right around 7:30. Quick reminder that here in Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Corn benefits the entire state. It feeds our livestock, nourishes our family, and provides homegrown, clean-burning, unleaded 88 for our vehicles. Pump it up with unleaded 88. Go to iowacorn.org. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
There's more Iowa in the Iowa Tap Room than you may realize. Housed in a building nearly as old as Iowa itself, the Iowa Tap Room greets you with a harvest of 120 Iowa craft beers on tap from all corners of the state. And the food doesn't get much more Iowa than this. The Iowa Tap Room, all Iowa beer, one amazing place.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the Natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
This is Darcy at Willis Chevrolet. When's the last time that you got new tires? From now till the end of November, we are offering buy 3 tires, get 1 for $1. Our extreme savings. Also, if you sign up for a GM credit card, you can get another $250 off the price of the 4 tires. So it's a win-win. Give us a call today and we can price you a set of 4, or visit us online to set up an appointment at willischevy.com.
back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock today. Thank you for joining us. Of course, coming up on Saturday, Iowa State is off this weekend. Iowa's going to be home Saturday night to play Penn State. Don't forget about the Black and Gold Rush right after the game. Ross Peterson and Tyler Kluver will be driving you home this week. I'll be at a fundraiser, my yearly Scare Away Cancer fundraiser, so looking forward to that. I was hoping it was going to be a day game so I could get to, because before we had to wait, an hour and a half after the game. Right after the game, I could have, if it was at 11 o'clock, even a 2:30 game, I probably could have got an hour in. But the 6 o'clock start, I'm going to be on stage at that time. So it's going to be
man.
you.
Let's say, do your thing. What Tyler asked the most important question of this: what's your costume this year? And since Ann Jeanette's she's not coming back till Friday.
Yeah, so the fundraiser's on Saturday night. So I'll just tell everybody because it's nothing extravagant like I've done in the past. I'm not going in drag. Usually I go in drag. I like dressing up as a female. I like putting on the makeup. So yes,
I've tried to tell you don't have to wear the underwear, dude. It goes too far when you put on.
No, the garter belt is where I take it too far. The garter belt and the clip-on hose.
The corset. I've always wondered how you get into the corset.
Yes, it's amazing. And Angela's like pulling me back and zipping me up real quick because she's been gone for the last couple of weeks. I'm going as Charlie Brown. I'm going to be Charlie Brown.
Oh, that'll be good. That's okay, dude. You've constantly raised the bar.
I'm lowering the bar this year because
that's good. It's good. It's okay to do that now and again.
Next year, maybe I'll come back with something strong, good female character, and because I do that because I play the character when I walk in, and I try to make people as uncomfortable as possible. I'll flamboyantly, act like I'm at a drag show and just have fun with it. Here, and Anjanette's not going as Lucy. I thought she'd go as Lucy, right? But she's actually going as Maleficent. So she's going as a
wow.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna tell her beforehand. I go, if you can look like Angelina Jolie Maleficent, you and I are gonna have some fun. I'm gonna say, can you wear those horns to bed? Can you wear the horns to bed? Because I find that kind of sexy.
I know who Angelina Jolie is. I do not know what Angelina Jolie as Maleficent is.
Really? You haven't seen the movie Maleficent? I thought your daughter would have watched that. It was the live action version of Maleficent,
I don't like
which
those
is
live action movies.
Well, it's pretty good. It was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, and Angelina Jolie was, here's a shock. She was hot in the movie, very hot. And,
Dude,
so. You don't find her hot?
I find myself in these conversations, like, I'm hesitant because I'm like afraid that I'm going to come across as, like I don't appreciate sexy women. I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. She lost me with the whole Billy Bob Thornton blood on the necklace, licking his neck in public. Like, I remember seeing that and I'm like, oh, she's way too weird for me. Way too weird for me. So I've never been attracted to her. And I never understood. When Brad Pitt left Jennifer Aniston for her, I'm like, you idiot.
The Billy Bob thing made her too weird. I would have thought it was before that when she was like infatuated with her brother. That was really early on.
I think it was I think that was kind of when she became part of my consciousness was, hey, here's this chick. She's beautiful, but she acts really weird. And by the way, she used to be obsessed with her brother. I'm like, oh, okay. That's okay. I can get past that. I'll move past her.
Everybody has issues.
Dude, so listen, I had this conversation with my buddies last night. Because we'd planned on going golfing in Las Vegas. Well, we've added another guy to our group who's a big golfer, and so he sent a thing out. And he's like, would anybody be willing to give up their spot on the golf course? And I said, yeah, I'm golfing is fun for me, but it's not. I'm doing a bunch of other stuff in Vegas. I'm going to be going to the Sphere. We're going to see Carrot Top. yeah, I would take a day and hang out at the pool rather than go golfing. You can have my spot. And then the guys were like, oh, Ross is going to go to the strip club. What was it called? You
got the Cheetah Club.
No, here, I'll find. They sent me the actual name of one. And they're like, you're going to go to such and such. And I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what's that place? Let's see. They wrote to me and said, oh, wrong group. Wrong group. I can't find it. Anyway, they said, you should go to this place, blah, blah, blah. So I Googled it. It was a strip club. And I wrote back to him like, here's something you guys should know about me. I am the worst guy to go to a strip club with. And I'm not trying to play moral high ground or tell you I'm better than you. No, I actually am. It's Casa Bonita. Thank you. Tyler was on it. He knew what it was.
Absolutely.
Played your cards there, Tyler. I'm the worst person to go. I'm the worst guy to go to a strip club with. And I've had multiple conversations with friends that have said, dude, you're fun at parties. You're not fun at this party. Because I'm the guy that's like, I wonder what happened.
And then you're going to say, sit down. You don't have to sit on my lap. Sit in this chair.
I will pay $20 just to talk to you about your life. How did you end up here? Where did it all go wrong?
And she's going to go, it all went right.
I sit in the back with my friends and I say that. I'm like, man, because my buddies would be like, damn, she's gorgeous. And I'll go, yeah, wonder where it went wrong. And they're like, will you shut up? I'm trying to enjoy this. Will you shut up?
Let me enjoy this for a little bit, would you?
I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll just sit here quietly.
Of course, Penn State coming to Iowa City on Saturday. Terry Smith will be the head coach of the Nitany Lions after James Franklin was fired. And a big question that a lot of people are wondering, because we've seen it happen with UCLA, right? UCLA fires its coach. It goes completely different philosophy, and they beat Penn State, and they've won a couple games in a row, and have shocks of people. Kirk Ferentz isn't expecting a huge change in philosophy when it comes to the Nitany Lions.
Philosophically, I can't imagine they're going to change much, and I don't know why they would. They don't need to. But, yeah, just, what the reaction is going to be, nobody can predict it. It seems like, recently in our conference, they made a change, and that team's done very well. So my guess is these guys are going to come in ready to play, and they've got a really good football team. So, we need to get ready for what I think we're seeing on tape.
So, and I agree with him. I don't think, we know that Penn State has talent, even though they've lost 3 in a row. They took Oregon to double overtime. I think it's the hangover at UCLA, plus some of the surprises that UCLA threw at them. Northwestern, I think you have an emotionally beat-down team at that point. That's just my opinion. But, Ross, I think it's not the philosophical approach to the game that Iowa has to worry about with Penn State. I think it's the how do you react after your coach gets fired? Are you in the dumps? Or are you like, oh, we got to pull our head out of our ass and we've got to rally the rest of the season? Because the team's out of the play. Penn State's not going to make the college football playoff. Not with 3 losses. Not going to happen.
You're right. They shouldn't make the college football playoff with 3 losses, even if they go on some epic run and they're just destroying everybody else with 3 losses. That should eliminate you. I'm having that thing in my head where I hear Coach Ferentz and I go, well, he's probably right, but technically I think he's right. Is their philosophy going to change? I don't think so. I think what Coach Ferentz is saying there is exactly the thing that you and I were saying. Like, dude, on paper, this is a really good team. They got a ton of talent. All of these guys are 4 or 5-star recruits that were dogs. And they just haven't been able to put it together the right way. There's just been something wrong this year with the chemistry or the philosophy or the approach or something. I don't know what. It's one of those intangible things that you just can't quite put your finger on. If you could put your finger on it, James Franklin would have put his finger on it and fixed it, and he would have kept his job. So I agree with him, but I also think that we've seen exactly the UCLA thing. Man, that change, that pulling off the collar, that's what we saw with Nico. They came in and said, "Hey, go play football. You're a great football player. Go out there and play football and see what happens." And the guy goes out there and he looks like Vince Young. And I do think that I'm a little bit afraid of that. Honestly, when the news got announced, I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. James Franklin was going to get fired. And my second thought was, this isn't good for the Hawkeyes. It would be better for the Hawkeyes if they were still kind of stuck in this turmoil, trying to figure it out. What's going wrong? Why? How can we figure this thing out as they come into a hostile environment? So,
philosophically, where it could change, you do have a new quarterback this week, right? I mean, Aller's out for the rest of the season. So, do you continue to do the same thing you were doing with Aller, or do you go, okay, what are your strengths? How can we maximize your production as a redshirt freshman, I think he is, and put him in a different. So I was going to be preparing for a quarterback that nobody's really seen before. So that's kind of the what if. What you want to do is you want to rattle him, right? I mean, that defense needs to rattle him early to get inside his head. And it being a night game, being that black and gold spirit game, that's the opportunity. The good thing is Iowa doesn't commit a lot of turnovers. So they're one of the most disciplined teams, or a lot of penalties rather, than one of the most disciplined teams. But if they can rattle that quarterback early, I think that's going to be a huge advantage for Iowa and the crowd. The crowd's going to have to be into this thing all night long.
Crowds, I think early on especially, Travis, because of this. You've got a quarterback that's coming in that doesn't have a lot of experience. We saw what happened with Mark Gronowski when he is in that electric environment. And Kluver talked to us about it. What that was a guy feeling the electricity coursing through his veins. And all of a sudden he doesn't have the skill set that he had demonstrated for the 3 previous years. And so if you can get a guy that hasn't demonstrated that hasn't ever been in those environments, and you can shake him even a little bit early on, I think that would be that's enough. Dude, it's going to be a dogfight. And I think that Hawkeye fans should look at it that way. Like, this is still an incredibly talented team. That if they do come in and they've got a little bit of a free spirit to them, that can be dangerous. And the Hawkeye fans being loud, Hawkeye fans trying to get into the head of this team, that's really important. I'd say especially early on, but you're right, Trav. These night games, dude, one of my favorite memories is a Penn State night game. Somebody will remember the year that this happened, because, again, it's kind of a blur to me. But it snowed. It was a tight game. Hawks won with a field goal. And it was one of my favorite moments of all time at Kinnick Stadium, because of just that, the way the energy in that stadium changed. Flagger, thank you. 2008 was that year. My God, that was 2008.
Seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
20 years ago. How is that 17 years ago?
Time flies, man. It just flies. Ross just realized how old he was. And how it seemed like yesterday.
It does. It does. Like, if you would have said, Ross, what year do you think it was? I'd have said, let's see. It was before we did sound off. So, oh, God, that would have been the realization right there. Like, oh, God, that was more than 15. So that's, folks, yeah, man, now I love this. I love you guys' memories. Thank you so much. Daniel Murray hit the field goal in 2008. We did have a great time that day. It was one of my favorite games of all time. And I have several. I mean, if you made me list them, I wouldn't know which one was the top one. But that was one of the moments of, like, this is fun. Golly, it's great to be a Hawkeye fan.
Yesterday, Caden Weegan was named a mid-season All-American, which means absolutely nothing, right? I mean, postseason All-American means, but it kind of shows you where Weegan is at, and the dude's an absolute stud from an all-purpose standpoint, from a punt return standpoint, from a kick return standpoint, from a receiver standpoint, hell, in a running game standpoint, the guy just is a multi-purpose player. But I started looking at some of the numbers, Ross, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, because his numbers this year are absolutely sick, right? He's got 11 punt returns for 332 yards, a TD. That's a 26-yard per punt return average. He's got 7 kickoff returns for 236 yards. He's got a TD for a 33.7-yard return average. Now, those 2 returns for touchdowns help that average out a lot. I will concede that. And as the season goes along, unless he gets another punt return or kickoff return for a touchdown, it's probably going to go down a little bit. But I think we really start to have to analyze this, and it's come up a couple times. is Caden Weegan the best all-around return guy in Iowa history? And when I say all-around, I'm throwing in kickoff and punt. Tim Dwight was an amazing punt returner. Tim Dwight isn't big on the kickoff return. I want to throw that, and I'm gonna give you some names.
Okay, all right. I've got some names in my head because Tim Dwight's the first one, and I would say he's the best. But boy, you've got some great ones in there. Who's on your list, Trav?
So I mean, and I can go even deeper because I pulled out the record book yesterday because I wanted to kind of give it. First of all, I think we need to appreciate how many good return people Iowa's had.
Dude, I've got a bunch running through my head. Cooper DeJean definitely deserves to be in this conversation.
But that's recent. That's recent, right?
Yeah.
Hell, you can go right behind Cooper DeJean and go Charlie Jones. Charlie Jones was
yeah.
But,
I didn't think of Charlie Jones. Go ahead, give me the list because I got another.
So I got Tim Dwight on there. Cavante Martin Manley.
Oh, I wouldn't have come up with him either in my list.
Desmond King.
Yeah, he did have. He had 1 year where he was a returner, right?
No, he had 2.
Did he? Okay.
In 2015, he averaged almost 14 yards, over 14 yards per punt return. The next year, 10 yards. Not great, but
still impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, Cavante Martin Manley in the 1 year that he was in the record book was 2013. He had 20 punt returns for 314 yards. It's almost a 16-yard punt return average, which is up
I'm glad
there.
You pulled up the record book, dude. I wouldn't have come up with him or Desmond King. How about this? That 2008 Penn State game. Do you know what my one of my memories from that game is?
Andy Brodell.
Andy Brodell. He had a punt return in that game for a touchdown. I'm almost certain of that. Again, somebody's going to remember the specifics of that. And Luann asked if that was the hot apple cider game. No, that was the Michigan game, Luann.
Caden Weegan last year, 12.6 yards per punt return. Cooper DeJean in 2022 was 16.5, and 2023 was 11.5. Again, Weegan this year, 26. But then you go to you go to kickoff returns. Weegan in 2023, 23.9. Last year, 28 yards per kickoff return. And DeJean isn't on the record books when it comes to in the kickoff returns. And Dwight is only 1 year in 1997 on kickoff returns. That's why I say all-purpose return guy.
Man, you really changed because I'm like, it's Tim Dwight. And again, that thing in your head of like by a long. No, it's not by a long ways.
Yeah.
But my gut reaction when you say who's the greatest returner in Hawkeye history, my first instinct is it's Tim Dwight, man. That guy was just so electric. And by the way, he was just special teams everything. I mean, I've talked about this. I remember him lining up at like the 5-yard line and sprinting to the kickoff, and then the kicker would go off of his thing. It was like arena football.
Ross, I'm going to throw another one out there. And this is where you have to put, because I get it. Punt returns and kickoff returns, two different things, but I'm talking all around.
Yeah.
But if you want to go kickoff returns, Amir Smith-Marset had 3 really good years of kickoff returns. 2 years back-to-back, almost 30 yards per kickoff return.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy, dude. Your average starting position when he receives the kickoff is the
30-plus yard line.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I kind of go to the Tim Dwight from the electricity factor, and there's a difference in the mentality of a punt returner and a kickoff returner. Kickoff, you get a little more time to make that catch. Punt returners, you got to have a little bit of a screw loose. You got to be flipping crazy.
Charlie Jones was crazy.
Yes.
Cooper DeJean was crazy.
Tim Dwight had to be a little crazy, right?
I think all of these names that we've said are guys that, crazy is the wrong word. Balls.
That's crazy.
Guts.
Crazy's not the wrong word. Weegan took one last week where the guy was one step from him. I'm like, dude, you could have gotten lit up right there.
He's got that factor about him. When he and I think every Hawkeye fan, when you very first saw him touch the ball, you went, "Oh, that's going to happen. Oh, he's going to break." I feel like every game he's got a moment where you go, "Man, he is just seconds away from breaking these things open." Cooper DeJean had that too. I think that there is some as I'm having this conversation in my head, I do think there's some recency bias here with Cooper DeJean, where I'm
100%.
That dude, I couldn't wait for him to have the ball in his hands. Yeah,
that adds to the mystique.
The lore, right?
And I'm not taking anything away from Cooper DeJean. I just if I had to flip a coin and take Cooper DeJean or Caden Weegan,
really,
I think I'm taking Caden Weegan.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I would take Cooper DeJean on that, but again, I would have
recency bias.
I would have taken Tim Dwight over all the others, and by the stats alone, Amir Smith-Marset was the best kickoff returner.
But as we have this conversation, we go through these great names, and I think every name we put out there is pretty darn good, right? It shows you how important special teams are in the game of football and how it's probably the least talked about part of the game. Everyone wants to talk about the running game, the passing game, the defense. You realize when you start looking at these numbers and what they put together, how they can flip the field for you, how they can give you really good field position. And we're not even talking about, field goals and stuff like that. We're just talking about the return game. And you go through this like, man, they've had really good return guys. Really good return guys.
That's a fun conversation to bounce around in your head. I mean, it'd be fun to just sit down without a stat book and just try to rank who were your favorites. I do think Andy Brodell with that punt return or kick, or I think it was a punt return against Penn State. In my head, so he sat in 101 underneath the water tower. And he caught that punt at like the 10, 12, 15-yard line right in front of us on the opposite side of the field, but on our side, on the north end. And changed and flipped that game with that punt return. So that there's moments like that where you go, yeah, that's the stuff that matters. I wouldn't have, I'm glad you said Charlie Jones, because I was one that as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, he was super good. He was a fun returner.
And the reason you forget about Charlie Jones is he transferred in from Buffalo, plays 2 years, then transfers to Purdue. So you kind of forget about that. His contribution during that time, because it's like Purdue dead to me. Brandon says, "Is DeJean the best all-around athlete the Hawks have ever had?" I don't know if you could say that.
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, listen, the guy's close.
Yeah,
he's close because you look at what he can do on the basketball court and all those other things. That'd be a fun conversation when Kirk Ferentz retires. Or if you could get one of the coaches to just be honest with you. Dude, we should ask Kluver. Who's the biggest freak you remember? Who's the guy that you remember that when he was in the weight room, everybody was like, damn.
I want to ask Kluver this question tomorrow. I'm going to give you Tim Dwight. I'm going to give you Desmond King, because he would have been there when Desmond was there, I believe. I'm going to give you Charlie Jones, Cooper DeJean, or Caden Weegan. Who are you going to put on a punt return? Which one are you going to put there? Be interesting to see what his is. You talk about greatest all-around athlete. Dusty just took it. Don't rule out Tristan Wirfs when it comes to all-around athlete.
Listen, if there's a wrestling match that happens, Tristan Wirfs better be one of your go-tos.
And I know he was only a Hawk for like a month. But what Alabama's doing with Caden Proctor right now, have you seen that dude in the back? I mean, they're running him like the fridge, and he's a beast.
They threw to him on that.
I know.
They threw him on the edge. Micah Hyde. Charlie says Micah Hyde was returning punts. You see,
he was.
There's so many, Trav, that I'm forgetting about it.
But Micah Hyde's return average wasn't that great, Ross. So in 2011, he had 13 punt returns for 106 yards. It's about 8.2 yard average. And in 2012, it was even lower than that, 7.4. He had 16 returns for 119 yards.
The dude from Iowa says Matt Roth was a 4-time state wrestling champion undefeated. I don't remember that. I didn't remember that he was a And he was one of the undefeated 4-time state champions? I'm looking this up because I don't remember that. Because if that's the case, then I rescind my Tristan Wirfs comment because that's badass.
Charlie says not in Iowa. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Charlie. So Matt Roth was from, where was he from? Was he from Dakota, Minnesota? I'm looking him up right now.
Isn't that funny how Iowa? Well, he may have been a 4-time state champion, but not in Iowa. Because if it's not from Iowa, it's not the same as
And from Illinois, which Illinois, that's quality wrestling over there.
But it's not Iowa wrestling.
It ain't. And in fact, I mean, dude, listen, I've been around the Grandview wrestling room and guys that were national champions at Grandview. And you talk to a guy and you're like, "Oh man, you were a 3-time state qualifier?" And the wrestler will say, "In Arizona. Not here." You're like, "Well, that's still really impressive." And the wrestler will go, "Not as impressive." So I don't. It doesn't knock it at all. If he's a 4-time state champion, undefeated in his high school career, you're a freaking badass, dude.
Yeah, you're a beast.
Matt Roth qualifies as that. He was just a dude that was a beast inside. That's cool. There's a lot of guys in the Hawkeye program that you can look at and go, if there was a street fight, which one of these guys do you want? You know, if it's a street fight, probably Matt Roth. He seemed like he had that put your thumb through your eye socket thing.
I wouldn't be surprised when it came to if you were to talk to former players about freak athletes. There's a difference between being a freak athlete and a great player. It may be somebody you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Now,
I was lucky enough one time, Trav, I hung out with a dude that was a trainer in the NFL. You've had conversations with guys like this. And I asked him, like, who's the freakiest athlete you've ever seen? And he's like, you won't believe it when I tell you. You won't believe it. He's like, and I was around the guy when he was in his 40s. And he was an insane athlete, in insane shape. Vinny Testaverde.
That does surprise me because you always thought of this slow 5-step drop.
Yeah. This guy had been the trainer for the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm like, oh, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs. Like, you were around some dudes. He was like, yeah. You know who they all were in awe of? 42-year-old Vinny Testaverde.
That does kind of surprise me.
It's dudes like that. I'm getting texts right now. They're like, fist fight? It's Matt Roth all day.
515-517-2303. Hey, you see me wearing my my Rush Radio hoodie. This is a great-looking hoodie. It's comfortable. It washes well. As fall starts coming around, Ross has a hoodie. We have coffee cups. Just go to therushradio.com, click on the merch tab, or if you're watching on YouTube, scan that QR code. It will take you right to the merch page on the website, and it makes great gifts, you help us promote the show, and you can also help Can Play Iowa. You had Todd Steppus, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, joins us next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Trick or treat, candy to eat, Get your car some brand new feet. Until the end of October, you can buy 3 tires and get 1 for $1. And we're also still doing our $25 off battery install. Scary good deals. All those treats, and you don't even need to show up with a joke. Give us a call or head online to willisinfinity.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
The largest selection of German beer in the world, you'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the Natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Thursday. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com and the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like and start leaving your comments in the comment section. And, of course, you can follow us on our social media channels, X, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We'll get to Coach Stepsis in a second, but I do want to relay this message off the conversation we were just having. Tyler Kluver's weighed in via text today, Ross. Nice. And he said, Wirf's the biggest freak of the Kirk Ferentz era. And he also said he would take Cooper as the punt returner.
Okay.
So, I want to talk return game with Coach.
So then the third question just has to be, who wins in a street fight?
We can ask that tomorrow.
Who's the one guy you got in a street fight?
And here, who wins in a street fight? Todd Steppsis kicks our ass all day long.
Who's the best returner of the group? Stepsis. Who's the best looking of the group? Stepsis.
I tell you, man, to be a kick returner, yeah, you got to have a little bit of something to you. I think of all the things, all the jobs that you have as a football player, that's one that probably takes the most guts. And punt return's probably worse, just because it's so hard to sustain a block for that long. But then, I mean, kickoff, the great ones just throw it through the crease, whether it's there or not, and you see it go well, but then you see it go bad.
So Coach,
those guys are special.
Is there some sort of trait that you are looking for? I mean, when you're beginning of the season, you're putting your team together. Obviously, you've got some high school experience to lean on, but is there a like that? How do you identify the crazy?
To be honest, I think a lot of times the stuff that you see in high school will correlate. And so, man, if you see a guy that shows that fearlessness in the kick return game in high school, it's gonna carry over to college. If you want to force a lot of turnovers on defense, you recruit guys that have a lot of interceptions or they force a lot of fumbles. We've got a freshman running back who is one of the all-time rushing leaders in the history of Wisconsin. He's pretty good. He may not have like the breakaway speed, but when you watch him, with the ball in his hands and how he kind of finds creases and finds soft spots, the high school, if you study the tape, sometimes the measurables maybe aren't what the standards, say they should be, but man, when you see guys do stuff on the field, it usually you see the same stuff.
Do you have like open tryouts for return specialist? I mean, and how? Because obviously, if you got somebody who's a high caliber that contributes other ways, you don't want to get them hurt. I mean, there's a possibility that. How do you go about? And I can't believe we're talking about special teams, but I think it's when we talk about the return game, because we just did a half hour on it. How it doesn't get talked about a lot, but they can affect the game big time when it comes to field position, all sorts of things. How do you go about going, okay, you're my return guy? Do you say everybody's going to try it and go, or how do you do that?
First of all, I don't think special teams is talked about enough. If you think about a single play in a game, there's none that average more yardage, than the kicking game. So we've won championships because we've had an awesome kicker and we've had, an awesome punter that's flipped the field for us. And we've had units that have been able to tackle and cover well and embrace that part of the game and their role in the game. But every, training camp, day one, first special teams meeting, you know who you want to see back there fielding kicks, but then you open it up like, hey, if you think that you can do this, show us what you got, and we'll fire some jugs at you, because that's really that. Everybody loves the electric kick returner, but job number one is to make sure you get it back to the offense. And so I remember, gosh, was this my junior year? Yeah, I think we ended up winning the conference in college, and our punt returner was a 250-pound tight end. I mean, he wasn't fast. He wasn't going to make anybody miss, but he fielded everything, so I think, he was a baseball player in high school, so he had that depth perception. He knew how to track a ball in the air. He knew how to get a jump on it when it came off the foot. But he'd catch it and get smoked right away because he couldn't make anybody miss because he was just a big dude, but he never dropped it, and we started that season early. We had this electric jitterbug that, man, everybody's excited about. And, he was very very iffy, when it came to being consistent to catching those things. And so in old Slosser went and the rest was history.
Slosser. What a great name for a big 250-pound tight end out there. He was so big, he just got smoked right away, but he held on to the ball.
Oh yeah. I mean, he popped right back up, and it's no different. You see those big tight ends just get tattooed when they come across the middle, and they just kind of pop up because they just got all that size to be able to absorb the blow. So
man, you brought back a core memory for me, Coach. I was a baseball player and I played infield my entire life, and then getting ready to go to high school. Well, here's where the JV thing kicks in. Getting ready to go to high school. My buddy's dad is like, hey, there's going to be a lot of other good infielders. You guys are going to have to learn how to play outfield a little bit. Let's go to the park, and I'm going to launch some fly balls at you guys. I will never forget. I played baseball my whole life. I'll never forget the first time a pop fly went in the air, and I thought, I have no idea where that's landing. I don't know where the ball could be behind me. It could be in the parking lot. It's there. And I can appreciate that feeling for a punt returner when the ball goes in the air you said it right, tracking that ball. That's a skill in itself.
Oh, yeah. And then how it tails. The really good punters can get that ball to kind of fade away from you a little bit. And so, it's just, and then when the wind is picking up and it's kind of, wet and rainy, that is a high stress deal that I think a lot of people just take for granted because, it's just we're changing from offense to defense. And so, here we go.
Coach, I'm an old enough guy. I'm going to stay on special teams. I'm an old enough guy that I still remember when the NFL had the majority of straight-on kickers, right? You go back to Mark Mosley, stuff like that. And then soccer style comes in. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
what happened to the barefoot kickers? Where's that guy's name? Tony Fernandez?
Tony Franklin. Tony Franklin was a barefoot kicker. I never quite understood that. I remember as a kid, you're like, I'm going to go kick barefoot. You're like, ow, that hurts. I don't want to do that.
Especially when the ball was cold.
But
hard as rock.
In college now, I think every punter position is being filled by Australians. And it's like, so is that the new way? I mean, I don't know if it's a new way of kicking or not, but is having that Australian type of punter? Is that the new thing in college football? Is that something you would go after? And because everybody's like, oh, he's an Australian punter. I'm like, God, Iowa started a trend. Is it going to trickle down to even FCS?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of stay homegrown when it comes to the kickers and the punters and whatnot. There's definitely, we've had soccer, obviously, and especially in this state to be able to do both. Where I'm from, soccer's a fall sport too. So it was kind of you did one or the other. But, I think, the Australia, I mean, it's like anything, right? So like they're kicking the ball a lot, they're punting the ball a lot in the Australian rules, type of play. And I just, the more you do something, the better you get. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of guys that were Australian that are having a lot of success, and maybe one day it'll trickle down to us. But we're pretty much Iowa or Midwest kickers, So
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We've avoided the elephant in the room, and you're not scoring points. You're not scoring points, and I don't mean to be negative, but what do you got to do offensively, because you're not finding the end zone the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, no, it's the elephant is in the room, and we are absolutely, we've been horrendous. I mean, it's just, there's no getting around it. And, football being a really, it's probably the ultimate team sport. It's never one thing, it's always, a combination of a bunch of things that just have really been, biting us in the rear end, so, everybody looks at the quarterback, so obviously our quarterback's got to play better, but then, who's coaching the quarterbacks? Well, shoot, I am, so I've got to figure out a better way to get him to be breathing fire, when he's coming into a Saturday, feeling super confident when things don't go well, to come to the sideline and get after his offensive lineman, like, give me a half more second. I'm going to carve these guys up. I mean, how do I get him to feel that way? And what kind of things can we do differently during the week to have that kind of mentality? Because, whether that guy's a captain or not, if he's coming off the field with a deer in the headlights look, everybody's going to look at that and go, oh man. And so, and that's kind of the last 3 weeks. That's what's happened in that room, where the first series he gets smoked. And so, as a quarterback, like, all of a sudden, like, that internal clock that you had, that you feel comfortable with, the rhythm and the timing that it takes to hit different routes and to go through a progression, it speeds up. And then when that speeds up, my fundamentals kind of go, out the wayside, and I'm getting rid of the ball too much, or I'm breaking the pocket too quick. And so, that's the issue there. And then, and then you look in front of them, you got to give them time. You got to be better up front. And those guys have continued to improve as we've gone this year. But, it's always like that group, how cohesive can you be? You got to have all 5 guys working together. And so you'll turn on the tape for us, and boy, here's 4 doing a great job, or man, here, this down block, he absolutely smokes this defensive tackle. But then, here's this offensive tackle, using a baseball term, throwing a no-hitter. I mean, completely whiffs, and then boom, it's a tackle for no gain. And, early in the game, you can just see that in pass protection, that we're just not sure of ourselves yet. And, so, we're getting hit with line games, and we're just not settled in. And so there's that too. And I think we've had, maybe 17 or 18 drop balls this year, in 6 games. So it's like, that's another thing. And our running backs have just been kind of inconsistent. So it's like a combination of all those deals. And then, when the stuff hits the fan, it's at the worst times. Like the last 3 weeks, it's just been like, we're getting something going, and then something catastrophic happens. Like it's 14-3. It's the middle of the third quarter, and we block a punt. And I mean, and our sideline is going crazy. We're kind of hanging in there, and then 1st and 10 on the 11 going in, and we throw an interception in the end zone. I mean, and it's just like bang. I mean, so how do we eliminate those things on offense? Again, starting with coaching, you always have to look at yourself in the mirror. What can we do differently to give them some more courage to go for it and make those plays, and the confidence that they can come back and do it again if things don't go well? But, again, it's a total team effort with how bad we stink right now on offense. But I think, if you really dive into, a lot of times you look at the final score and then you kind of make your assumptions and your judgments there. But then, when you dive into the tape and you start to pull out some things, you start to, you bring back the optimism, you bring back the hope, and you can now say, okay, let's build on A, B, and C. This is, look at us doing this really well. Now can we consistently do it? And again, like, whether it's cliche or not, all of that has to happen during the week. There's no getting around it. So a lot of people, they have it backwards. To where, gosh, they're trying their hardest, they're straining, and they're competing on a Saturday, and that's not how it goes. You play on Saturday, man. You have fun, man. You're letting it all out there. You're cutting it loose. You're playing free. That strain, that stress, all that stuff has to happen Sunday through Friday. It has to. And so, as we look in the mirror again, what does practice look like? And we've made strides. Special teams, man, we're really on an upward trend. I mean, our defense, you look 31 points, that's a lot, but we had 5 turnovers. And so, like, you're giving a team 5 more possessions. It's pretty darn good against the second ranked team in the country at their place. And so that team's improving. Well, if you're at practice, you just close your eyes and listen. You got offense on the right and defense on the left. Which one's making the most noise? Which one's the most excited? And you can hear it. And so the challenge for us as coaches is, how do we create that? But then challenge for our leaders on the team. And I think that's where I think some coaches can fail. You got to give your players a voice. You got to give your players some ownership. You can't be the one in front all the time, screaming and yelling and demanding to meet the standard, where, your leaders have to be the ones, that can do it too. Because again, just like the example of the quarterback coming off the field, hey, give me a half a second more and I'm going to kill these guys. If the QB says that to the O-line, what do you think the response is going to be? Yeah. Where the O-line coach says it every time coming off the field. Hey, man, just like, well, gosh, all of a sudden, like, it's just like in one ear, out the other, So like the players, but there's signs of that happening, and we're just, we'll continue to swing the hammer, and good things are going to come, and we just got to keep on plugging away.
Coach, I hear a lot of accountability. I hear you. There's a lot of, this is where we're coming short. This is what we need to work on. I hear a lot of accountability there. Is part of your, you say you watch the tapes and then you come away with some optimism. Is part of that because of who you've been playing?
Yeah. I mean, it's just our league. That's, again, one of the many great things about playing in the Missouri Valley Football Conference is there isn't one week that is going to, not be an opportunity, so an opportunity to go against a really good team, an opportunity to get it turned around. I mean, all of those things, it's just, you don't have to wait long, and here it is again. And so, we start with North Dakota, which I think can be, could be a Final Four team in the FCS. And then we go up to the number 2 team in the country, and you see us battle and compete. And again, when you really look at it with a critical eye, you can just sense, okay, on defense, they're not knocking us off the ball, and they're not really making us miss. And, they're not running away from us, and we're knocking balls down, and we're doing things. So you're like, okay. And then on offense, we're not having the production, but it's not like when the quarterback drops back, like the pocket is just in his lap right now, or, guys aren't getting whipped. And so you see us like, there's not a big talent thing there. So now it's just like, how do us as coaches, man, how do we get it out of them consistently day in and day out? Because, you hear people talk about it all the time. The great ones do it all the time. It's not just some of the time. The great ones know what to do. They're willing to do it, and then they do it all the time, and we're just not there yet.
The great line, everybody can be good on their best day.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, champions do it, wake up on their worst days and do it.
Everybody's talented.
Yeah. So you got, South Dakota this week at the Dome, right?
Right. Yep. Dakota.
Another ranked team.
Another Dakota.
Yeah, it's like, when the school has Dakota in it, you're in for a battle, and they're no different, and they've actually done a really nice job of next man up, so they had an awesome running back. He was amazing a year ago. We played him a year ago, and he carved us up, and so he's coming in preseason. He gets hurt, And then lo and behold, the backup rushes for 300 yards or something in reserve. So part of that, again, like I kind of hint out on it for our team, their offensive line is probably, of the 3 teams we've played in our league so far, is probably the most together. Like, they just work really well together. They seem to be always on the same page. They know where they're going. They know who they're comboing. They know where they have help and where they don't. And then they do a great job of staying stuck to people too. So that allows the back to find the creases to run hard. And he's built like running backs should be built. And so, when I worked at Drake, we had this old time coach, Bill Charles. He's not with us anymore, but he's a great guy. I could go into some awesome stories about him, but he coached running backs. And he had a quote, "Big buns, big runs," and so and so that was that. And this kid, when you look at the tape and it's an end zone copy, it's like, man, that guy is thick. His legs are just powerful. Like, you can just tell that dude doesn't. You aren't going to be able to bring him down by yourself. You're going to have to bring your pads for sure.
Big buns, big.
You just gave me an idea for our next Rush Radio shirt. Big buns, big runs. The Rush Radio Show.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Every day is a learning experience. I think I learn something new every day. I think Ross learns something new every day. Mm-hmm. Having gone from the Pioneer Football League to the Missouri Valley Conference, non-scholarship to scholarship, I know it's early. You're halfway through the season, but what have you learned just in that transition to as you're now halfway through the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's still,
or is it still just football?
Yeah, it really is. It's just the neat thing is coaching in the Pioneer League, and it got that way probably the last few years. It felt like when I first got to Drake back in 2014, you had like the 3. It was Drake, it was Dayton, it was San Diego, and regardless of who 1, 2, 3 was, it was always going to be those 3. And then, as we started playing, and as teams, started doing a better job of recruiting, and, all of a sudden, like, there wasn't really a game that was going to be a gimme, and so, some teams have fallen off a little bit now, but, now moving into the Valley, it does feel the exact same way, where, and there isn't going to be a gimme any week. Every team has got great players, great coaches. And so I think the one thing that I have learned, but I kind of knew it already going in, but we got some great atmospheres in our league. Our dome obviously is a ton of fun. And I should have done this way back. Like, I know you guys have a lot of stuff to do on weekends, but, man, the invitation is open. Anytime you guys wanted to come up, hang out on the sidelines, man, feel free.
Oh, Coach,
I'd love to have both of you.
I would take you up on that. That would be a lot of fun. If we can figure out a time when that works for our Hawkeye postgame show, I would love to do that.
Oh, yeah, anytime. You guys are more than welcome. And, but, it's funny. I like, South Dakota State last week, they had a great crowd. We've had some great crowds here. And then I flip on these, like, Wednesday college games at Conference USA, and I'm like, man, every angle they show of the crowd, man, there ain't anybody there. And so it's just, I mean, that is one neat thing is, man, our league, the communities, that our league, are a part of, man, they really care about their football teams. But
even on the road, that's got to motivate your play. I mean, it's nice because I'm sure you went in the PFL sometimes, like there's nobody there, but a couple hundred people. But it's got to be fun even for your players to go, hey, at least we get to play in a really good atmosphere, because it's fun to play in an atmosphere like that.
Oh yeah, and that's why when you think about non-conference games too, like that's you got all these great atmospheres that that you play in league, and boy, to prepare for that league, you got to play in some good ones too. So like we scheduled teams like Montana and Montana State and places like that. Guys get jazzed up for that. They love going into a hostile territory and trying to make that crowd quiet. That's some of my favorite football memories is when you go into a stadium and it's loud and it's crazy and you shut them up quick. And so, that a ton of fun.
All right. We were having a conversation before you came on about freaks, about guys that just are the crazy freaks. We had 2 conversations. There's the guys that are the weight room freaks. And then there's that street fight tough, right? Do you have a guy that you remember as like, man, this dude was a freak of an athlete?
Yeah, you guys were talking about what Wirfs,
Tristan
from
Wirfs,
Iowa.
yeah.
I mean, I never met the guy, but man, some of the social media stuff, I'm kind of like, man, how does a guy do that?
Right.
I
The one
mean,
where he
yeah,
jumps out of the pool? Remember
oh
that?
my Lord.
What?
I mean,
You
just,
can do that?
yeah, I just like humanly, how is that humanly possible in that size? And to be honest, like when I think of freaks, like just athletic freaks, a lot of people think of, the guys that are super fast and like just so strong. But I think the big guys, when you really kind of pare it down, I think that's more impressive. We actually, so there's a lot of metrics that you can use in football that, to track performance. And obviously you see, whether you watch, the game cast where they track miles per hour and things like that, so we do miles per hour with our team, but then for the big guys, because, they're not going to run 25 miles an hour, 24, whatever, the fast times are. But we have this metric called the truck stick. And so it takes their miles per hour and their body weight. And so we use a conversion for a metric. And so, it spits out a number, and man, when you're in the thousands in the truck stick metric, like you're creating some serious momentum and some serious power. And they did it in the NFL, and Trent Williams has the highest score. So you look at that
makes
guy.
sense.
When you see those clips where he's in motion and flying across the formation. So, to be honest, the first guy that comes to mind, I played basketball against him, was Orlando Pace. He just was a massive human being. I mean, he was 6'9", 315 pounds in high school, and he just floated around he just didn't move like a 300 pounder, super light on his feet, like just super soft hands. I mean, he could have probably played tight end and been awesome, so like he was legit, and
Coach,
the ball would go into the post. We ain't stopping it. Like
that's an elite. That's an elite freak that you just named. Like you played against him in high school.
Yeah, it was like a basketball scrimmage or something like that. And just, and then we had a team. It was again, small school. Like, so the football guys played basketball and baseball and wrestled and all that stuff. And so here we are with a bunch of football guys trying to play basketball, and we're all, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", and then here comes this gigantic mountain of a dude. And it's kind of like, whoa, man,
this is different.
Yeah, this is different. It's like, who's going to guard that guy?
Yeah.
So play your 3-2 zone and just, they're going to lob it up to him anyway, and we can't do anything.
I had a cousin that was a college basketball player. He got recruited by Drake, ended up playing at Wisconsin. He was like 6'6", 6'7", big guy. And we were having a conversation one day, and he's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. Guy that I go to school with is Brian Urlacher's cousin. And Urlacher came, and we played a pickup, and he told me a story about Brian Urlacher dunking on him. And he's like, I've never seen an athlete like this. I've never seen it. He wasn't even as big as me, and he's dominating everybody. So there's something about the Orlando Pace thing is awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah, it was massive. But then like street fight guys, I mean, you always think about just who are the tough dudes. We had a guy at Drake. He's a linebacker. His great name too, Sebastian Adamski. Dad was from Poland. I think he lived there until, I don't know, maybe 16 or something, then came over to the States, lived in New York for a while. But, we call him Seabass, of course, a little movie reference there. We call Sebastian Seabass. Oh, yeah. And he lived up to the name, man. You looked at him and he was a bad dude. And I have a feeling like you want to walk into an alley with a guy. That'd be a guy you'd love to have at your side, because he was tough.
Somebody asked if wrestlers, do you intentionally recruit wrestlers? Oh, I saw your eyes light up there a little bit.
Oh yeah. No. You just, wrestlers are the toughest. It's fun. You're gonna get in a bar fight. He's got some cauliflower going on. Just might want to rethink that decision. But yeah, no, I multi-sport in general. Wrestlers are tough, but they also have got great leverage. They understand their bodies. Basketball players, obviously, with their athleticism. I mean, track guys. I mean, I think the great teams, if you were to look at their rosters, and said, okay, what sports did they play in high school? Gosh, very few, if any, would be just football guys. So wrestlers are awesome in the trenches, but really, I mean, we've got some really great linebackers that wrestle too.
Coach, before we get you out of here, I'm going to ask you a question that you may never talk to us again with. So, Bennett Sturts was on a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about the Iowa Drake basketball series and how they don't play. And Bennett said it should be written down that if a coach leaves a team, that he should be forced to play that team the next year. My question to you is, would you ever schedule Drake to play Northern Iowa?
I would play him next year.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I scheduled that like when I was at Drake.
Yeah. Are you glad you did that still? I'm just.
Yeah, of
that's
course.
good. I did not know that. That's good. That's cool. Really good. Yeah. That is cool because I think it's good for the state. It's good for both programs. And I think instead of Drake going up to North Dakota State, and it was a great, but I think a lot of people will enjoy that. So that's
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome for the state. It's awesome for both fan bases. Anytime you don't have to travel far, especially like when we were playing in the Pioneer League, man, it's you're all over the place, and so just a quick road trip for your fans to come and enjoy a game. Yeah, that's why we scheduled it. Gosh, we scheduled that one probably 4 years ago. And
so, really? Wow.
Yeah. So we're excited about that, and it'll be good too because I think that's neat. I don't know if it happens in basketball because it feels like once a coach leaves, the roster just evaporates.
It's true.
Where there's a bunch of guys on the team now, and they're doing a really good job. So I still follow some of those guys, and there still should be a good chunk of them around next year too. So it'll be fun to see.
Excellent stuff, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
So much,
great as always, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Okay, bud.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you, buddy.
Thanks. Coach Todd Steppus joining us on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. We'll take a quick break. Yeah, go ahead. What are you thinking?
I love that accountability thing, man. He spent the first 10 minutes of that conversation saying, "Here's all the things that we're doing wrong as coaches."
And owning up to it, right?
Yeah,
going, "Hey, we're horrendous." When's the last time you heard a coach say, "God, we're horrendous"?
Yeah,
you don't hear that.
He went position by position, and it wasn't blaming the players in any stretch. And he even says, "Man, you go back and watch the tape." And we see all these good things. We see that we're not getting blown up. We see that we're in pace with all these other guys. It's just these little tiny things. That's a really important thing for sport. As sports fans, it's hard for us to look past the result.
Yes.
And dive into it and go, okay, how did this happen? And if it really was just a few crucial plays, or like you said, one time a guy misses a block and your quarterback gets blown up, that changes the direction of the game in a big way.
Turn the ball over 5 times, right?
That's huge.
All that stuff.
You can't win in the margins doing that.
It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Bruno coming up next.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
This is Darcy at Willis Chevrolet. When's the last time that you got new tires? From now till the end of November, we are offering buy 3 tires, get 1 for $1. Our extreme savings. Also, if you sign up for a GM credit card, you can get another $250 off the price of the 4 tires. So it's a win-win. Give us a call today and we can price you a set of 4, or visit us online to set up an appointment at willischevy.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Every business has priorities, and Priority One Heating and Cooling is no different. As a service provider, we prioritize quality air conditioners and furnaces that will keep your home at your comfort level year-round. As a small business, we prioritize doing things the right way and treating people fairly. As a truly local business, we prioritize our community. As a veteran-owned business, we prioritize duty and commitment. For big business service with local value, trust your home to the place where you are always Priority One.
Hi, I'm Bradley Ollinger here at Willis Nissan. Now until October, we are offering buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1. Take advantage of this deal right now before winter. Go online today at willisnissan.com to schedule your tire placement today, and we'll see you on the service drive.
Rush, strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Quick reminder that the Iowa Lottery wants to send you to a Cyclone football game or a Hawkeye football game, but you have only until October 20th to get signed up. If you want to go to the Cyclone football game and have a sweet experience, enter your non-winning Mega Millions tickets into your Iowa Lottery VIP club account for your chance to win a VIP suite experience. If you want to go to the Hawkeye game, then you enter your non-winning Blackout Scratch tickets into your Iowa Lottery VIP club account. Go to iowalottery.com, and if you're not a VIP member, sign up at iowalottery.com/VIP. Ross is back, and we're joined now, as we are each and every Thursday, by our friend, our buddy, and he's your friend from all the Full Court Press establishments, Bruno. Hello, sir.
What's up?
Not much. Not much at all.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Fire away.
What do you think you're going to be doing when you're 83?
I'll be getting up, still doing this show with Ross Peterson. That's what I want to be doing. I hope. Now, I may be in Mississippi. I may be in Florida. I may be in Arkansas. I may be in Arizona. I won't be where I am now, but God, I hope I'm doing like old man radio with Ross when I'm 83.
Do you think you could do it for 3 hours at a time?
No, we only do two now.
Radio or
well, I was just thinking, I went to Gordon Lightfoot. He was 84. He passed away when he was 84. Went to him, this was a couple years ago, to Hoyt Sherman. And it was really cool because it was Gordon Lightfoot. I knew all the songs. It was amazing. But it was almost like I could have been at a retirement community where one of the guys, hey, Gordon used to sing in a band. It felt like that a little bit. I mean, but it was, of course, elevated. But Gordon was all of his 84 years. 2 nights ago at Paul McCartney, 35 songs, a 3-hour show. The guy's on tour. I mean, maybe I'd like to hear him when he was 25, but I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't care if I did or didn't. It was the best show I've ever seen. It was amazing. Sir Paul McCartney, amazing. The show was great. The singing was on. The music was amazing. The guy is 83 years old. It boggles my mind.
So did he not take a break during that 3 hours? Was it 3 hours?
0 breaks.
Wow.
I mean, they broke to kind of walk up, and he went to the piano back and forth and whatever. But, and then they, waved around, and then encore started. He didn't leave, come back 10 minutes later. I was told if they needed a restroom break, they'd play a 3-minute video while they did that, but that didn't even happen.
Hey, he's got incontinence right now. He's got to go pee, so he'll be back in 3 minutes.
Did I pee 4 times during this 2-hour show?
You do.
I mean, the guy. I mean, he. So there you go. Oh, how's he going to hit that that note, where he screams or yells? Of course. Well, I don't want to say of course, but he did a little bit. He did quite a bit of it. But he also is just so talented that he was able to figure out a new way that made it sound just as good to kind of transition. It was just spectacular.
I do have a question because I saw Ringo Starr this summer and his all-star band, but Ringo can only do the Beatles songs that he wrote. right? So, when you go see Ringo Starr, you're not getting all these Beatles songs. You're only getting the Beatles songs that he contributed on as a writer or that he wrote. Like Yellow Submarine was I believe, Ringo Starr's. Go figure, right?
Octopus's Garden.
Yeah. So my question is, was it a lot of Beatles songs? Was it a lot of, what was that other band? Band on the Run. Wings songs?
Paul McCartney is not constrained by anything. I think he
That's
could
true.
sing whatever he wants, and he did. And and that's pretty good. Ringo Starr, he is the oldest Beatle by quite a few years, like 2 or 3. He was born in 1940, and he still playing the drums is pretty amazing because he's like edging towards 90.
Tell me he didn't sing "Say, Say, Say."
No,
what
he did
you
not sing
want?
that.
Okay.
He did sing. So I've had the pleasure of seeing 2 of the best 007 theme songs ever. I had a lot. I wanted to look it up, but the Duran
Hold
Duran
on.
one.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Adele and Skyfall.
No, the the good ones.
You're going to have to educate me. What are the good ones?
The Duran Duran one. Do you know what I'm talking about? They sang.
View to a Kill.
Yeah, View to a Kill. Duran Duran. I got to see him. They played Chic. Chic opened up for him. Niles Rodgers, one of the best concerts I've ever seen. That might be second now. They played, and then Duran Duran played, and I will tell you, Duran Duran again could have played 30 years ago, and it felt like it was the same thing. Like it was really great. But View to a Kill, yeah, it was great. Live and Let Die. One of the there's explosions and fireworks and fire and it was just intense. You could feel the heat coming off the stage. It was wild. It was so amazing. I'm like, that would have been amazing. That's amazing at any age, but the guy, and he has this thing put together, and I know it's not just him, but that was just so well produced. It's just wild. It blew me away.
When you said Live and Let Die, I literally thought, oh, you saw Guns N' Roses? No. And then it took my brain a beat to go, oh, no, that was a Beatles song initially, or Paul McCartney, whatever. Yeah, it was
here's
Paul
one for
McCartney.
you.
It would have been after the Beatles that they did that, right? Or was Live and Let Die a Beatles song?
It wasn't a Beatles song. It was Wings or Paul McCartney himself. What about Helter Skelter? There's one just like that. He played that. That is... I'm like, I looked at Charles Johnson was with me. I said, so the Beatles also invented heavy metal? Because that song seems like a heavy metal. I mean, the first time I ever listened to that, I swear it was Motley Crue. And I'm like, that sounds so much like metal. And that song came out in like 68 or something. Like it came out before Black Sabbath and before some of those early metal bands. I don't know.
I wonder if John Lennon was alive if some of this stuff would have applied. I'm being dead serious, Bruno. Like with the way that the Beatles broke up, I wonder if Lennon, if he were still alive, if he would have done the same thing that they do to Ringo Starr and said, you can't do the Lennon songs. You can only do I mean, again, Paul McCartney has a catalog all on his own.
But I think Lennon was in on a lot of the writing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost entirely Lennon McCartney when you look at.
And you can actually hear the difference in the Lennon and McCartney songs.
For the most part, yeah. Sometimes you get tricked, but here's one that's I watched that Get Back by Peter Jackson. You know, the guy who did the Lord of the Rings and that he took 150 hours of audio, 60 hours of video, and edited it down to 10 hours. And I watched that over this past weekend. It was the making of the album Let It Be. It's when they weren't the first to play on a rooftop, but they're the first to get any kind of notice for it. Jefferson Airplane did, apparently in New York on a hotel, but this is so over the top produced. They had cameras everywhere. Everyone in the traffic stopped. The police came up and said, you got to stop playing. The Beatles were playing up on the roof. It was, I'm telling you, that's the culmination of this 10-hour video. It was really cool because you get to watch like Paul like kind of noodle on a guitar.
And then just write a song.
Write a song. And it came out of thin air. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I know that song. And you know it before he does. and it's wild, and it just all of a sudden just bubbles up, and it's Get Back or it's whatever.
It's funny that we were talking about this, and Ross, you're a big music guy, much bigger than I am. But I happened to watch again the Tom Petty Wildflowers documentary, and Tom said, you know what? Tom Petty's a great songwriter, but he goes, my best ones, they're the ones that just happen in like a matter of minutes. He goes, there would be songs that I'll ponder over for months, but the ones that are the hits and the ones that I wrote them in like two minutes. It's crazy how. And when you watch that Beatles documentary, you're just like, they don't have a song, and then like 2 hours later, they're like, okay, let's lay it down. You're like, God, it's how it happens.
I've seen Tom Petty quite a few times. He's amazing. I've seen so many good shows, and I would just say I've seen the Stones, I've seen Elton John, I've seen Paul McCartney one other time a decade ago, I've seen The Who, I've seen tons of great music. I've seen Johnny Cash live, I've seen Merle Haggard, I've seen Willie millions of times. I saw Willie when he wasn't like wheeled up to the microphone. I've seen him when he has been. I've seen lots of club shows, and I'm just blown away. I am, like how good that show was, and at a guy who's 83 who just played 35 songs in a row.
That's great. I haven't seen you this excited in a couple of weeks, man. It's pumped up. Bruno, he's like, when
you asked me about when you said the 83 thing, I had no idea you were going to the McCartney.
I'm just saying, like, man, if I can stand for 35 songs, the time frame, let's just say 2.5 hours anywhere when I'm 83, I'm going to feel like that's a major accomplishment, let alone playing the piano, playing the guitar, singing, and using all the memory. I'm just like think about all the memory and things you have to be able to do, even if you've done it a ton of times. Although, like Glenn Campbell, when he played towards the end, he could sing the songs, but he's like, where am I? Like his family had to help him out.
Well, he had dementia. Or he had Alzheimer's.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just saying, yeah, but when you get older, that comes into play,
So, Bruno, let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, because when you started talking about this, I had this memory go through my head. Do you remember the music venue that was on the east side of Des Moines for a while called Super Toad?
Yeah, I saw 311 there. It was amazing.
Yeah. I saw the Edgar Winter Group. Dr. Hook opened up for the Edgar Winter Group one time.
I don't like spiders.
I sort of kind of remember that being billed. I'm like, yeah, that'd be okay, but you know what I mean? Like,
dude, Edgar Winter, you could have told me he was 140 years old.
Well, he always didn't he have like super white hair though?
Super white hair, and he was super duper skinny. But I just remember like he walked out on stage, and I was like, he's dead. He's dead. How is this guy?
They're like, they plugged him in like a guitar.
When the biggest show I ever saw with the Extremes was when I saw Fleetwood Mac, and Lindsey Buckingham was electric, man. He was on fire for the world, and he never stopped, and he shredded. He never left the stage. And Stevie Nicks had to be wheeled up to the microphone and wheeled off stage so they could fill her up with whatever they were pumping her full of. And it was sad. It was like this. It was a dichotomy where you watched two people that had grown up together that were once in love. One of them is still full of life and vigor and ready to go, and the other one is just catatonic.
Then I'll tell you what I was kind of going for here a little bit is it's mindset, It's where you see yourself when you get there, and what are you going to do between now and then? Because if you don't do something to keep you young and healthy, then you might.
That's why we do this.
That's why we do this.
Young and healthy, Bruno.
Yeah.
Vibrant.
Sitting in a chair, talking at the wall. That's why we do this.
Well, listen, you watch that documentary, and that what Paul McCartney does a lot. Sits around, plucks on his guitar.
No, I know. Yeah. They actually talk about how they just had listened to the new Fleetwood Mac album, and they're like blown away in that show.
Yeah, and the new Fleetwood Mac album was like one from the 70s.
Yeah, it was probably the first one.
Yeah,
that was one of my
3.
first. Yeah, that was like my first vinyl was Tango in the Night. I got that on vinyl at Columbia House. That was one of my albums.
Oh, Columbia.
So you never
House.
paid for it.
No, he paid a penny. He paid a penny for it.
No, my dad was in a huge legal battle. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I want to, you talk about what gets you up in the morning, what gets you going. There is Holiday Inn Express has got a new thing going. Have you heard about this?
No.
They're rolling it out in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, and Japan. They're trying a new concept of in the wake up call category. The New York Post on August 1 said the breakfast alarm clock will wake up sleepy customers with the smells of their favorite breakfast items. You can choose your aromas, including coffee, bacon, blueberry, muffin, mango, or pear. The device works like a diffuser, and it releases the scent in the air. It reminds me of that Folgers commercial. It's like, that people are laying in bed asleep, and all of a sudden they smell the coffee. I think, like, I just thought about it too. I had this ready dialed in, but my daughter was making coffee this morning, and I was tying my shoes. I'm like, hey, that would wake me up. And I've been in bed before, sleeping in, and somebody makes coffee and you can smell it. It kind of does wake you up. I'm like, that's sort of interesting.
Are there smells at El Bait Shop or Tap Room or the Exchange or Fong's that obviously are more overpowering, but you find, oh my God, it smells like bacon in here this morning. People just order more bacon. Is there anything?
Well, I think everyone knows I live near the library, and I can smell breakfast being cooked when I go out. Like we're pumping that smell out into the neighborhood, which is kind of not a bad idea, right? On the weekends, especially bacon travels well, let's just say. So yeah, no, that is part of the fun. And speaking of being part of the fun, I keep saying this, and I'm glad that Steve-O led in with us this week. Sign up for the newsletter. We have so many things. We just brewed beer with Exile Brewing. We made a beer with Tang. Look for that to come out a little after Halloween. We do so many things. We just opened up a new place, the Empire. It's doing really well. I was talking to somebody, asked them what they thought. It's like, this is my 4th time here. I live in the neighborhood. We already have regulars.
Good.
I had the food there yesterday for lunch. I had the beer rock, what we call the Empire, what Travis would call a Runza. Amazing. They dialed them in. I had the pastrami and cheese sandwich too. Really good. Denise is killing it with the coffee. It's working its way into being our second neighborhood place. All places are kind of neighborhoody, but the library and the Empire are really your neighborhood go-to. And anyone, of course, can go to any of those, but something.
When you say neighborhood, though, Bruno, do you mean like in the center of where people live? Like, because I do think of all of your places as neighborhood.
Yeah,
places.
well, in a way. So it was born out of the idea that 29 hotels were on what they called Hotel Row back in the day, 4th Street. Now we have 8 condos and apartments, and people live, work, and eat and hang out on that street. From the Plaza to the Rumley building, from the Rumley up to the Elliott and the Randolph and the Kirkwood and the Hawkeye. There's tons of people that live on that street, and if I lived in that neighborhood and I wanted to go have a coffee, I mean, a lot of people drink coffee in the morning. I would go there. Competitive pricing, delicious coffee. 30 years experience behind the wheel of the espresso machine. Denise Diaz kills it. She knows what she's doing. She's trained everyone and brought some of her people with her. It's great. I think it's a lot of fun. So,
Bruno, go ahead. Sorry, bud.
I was just saying another neighborhood phenomenon. Shelf Love in the Dogtown area. They're doing a fall boozy book fair this Sunday. Check them out. They're pretty fun. We did a Taylor Swift thing, and we filled the Lucky Horse for a Taylor Swift release party. They've been really good over there across the street from us, just trying to get people to come to the neighborhood and enjoy the experience of coming to Dogtown. So
I've not heard of Shelf Love. It's a bookstore in the
it's a new bookstore.
Okay.
I think she's a neat person. She's very interested in just getting people to come to the neighborhood, and she wanted to work with us. She understands that she doesn't have to have just people come to our place, just have people come to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And check it out. And a community event that I always love is the Tweed Ride coming up. So put it in your calendars, November 9th. That's always a fun little ride. It's literally a little ride, but it's so much fun. It's a It's a dress up parade on bicycles.
Travis would love it. He'd fit right. You always, Bruno.
I get friends that ride in the tweed ride all the time. I love how people dress up. I think it's unique. It's something that makes Des Moines unique. You know, I think
I could wear my new newsboy cap from my new Scully cap that I got from Ireland. Yeah.
There's nothing. Actually, it's called the Jeffrey. I think it is. I got to look that up. But a Jeff cap.
Oh, really? I've never heard that one.
I saw that. I'm like, man, they named a cap after me. My other name.
Hey, Justin's got a question for you. Okay, he says, Bruno, Des Moines needs a buffet, like Ryan's Steakhouse.
No, you don't.
Have you ever thought about doing a buffet?
Say no.
Good.
No.
Good. I'm not a buffet fan.
Buffet. I mean, there are some. I guess that K-pop.
Are
I mean,
there?
I mean, here's the thing. I always say, you're from where you tell. I'm from where you tell people you're from. Like if you're from Hawkeye, and they go, "Where are you from?" I go, "I'm from where you tell people you're from." I'm just saying the suburbs have buffets, don't they? I mean, this new K-pot in the old Wahlburgers across from Costco is a Korean style. There's the hibachi thing. Isn't there the old steak place on 86? They have near, like right across the street from Famous Dave's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Sure.
I like, oh, yeah. Oh, my stomach. I mean,
yeah, right.
I don't know if I can do that. Like, I'm not hungover enough these days to go do that,
Yeah.
Best one ever is KFC, all you could eat buffet on right across from Merle Mall. They used to do this, and I think this story real quick would be the reason they probably don't. I was there. They had chicken. They had the chicken livers, 11 herbs and spices, delicious. Mashed potatoes, the whole 9 yards. You could have it all. Chicken. I went for the breast. I went to the restroom, kind of done, washed my hands, come back out, and my buddies looked at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done." It's like, "You got to have one more chicken breast." I'm like, "I already had enough. I already had 11. They're like, "We wanted you to have 12 chicken breasts." Like,
damn.
Yeah, the buffet diets aren't really conducive to good heart health.
Somebody said,
or living till you're 83.
Buffets are the Walmart of restaurants. That's what somebody said. The Walmart of restaurant would be a buffet.
Yeah, or maybe dollar store or something.
The Family Dollar.
You get your dollar stretches. I mean, just to be nice to those stores, your dollar really stretches, but what you get might not be the best you could get. That's I'm gonna leave you with this. That's the thing I'm doing with beer right now. I think if you're gonna have one, have a good one. Stand by that. They're going to be talking about that in the future. If you're going to go through the trouble of having a beer, you want to go have one, why don't you just have a good one?
All right, Bruno, you have a good one, my friend. Always good catching up. We'll be in touch.
And I didn't even get to tell Bruno about my amazing soccer experience that I had in Ireland.
We'll save that for next week. Yeah. Or save it for next week.
I'll tell him off the air.
Okay. Bruno, if you're still listening, I'm going to call you here in a little bit, too, on my way to work, just to let you know. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for tuning in today. You can always find us on a replay at therushladio.com. And Tyler Kluver joins us tomorrow on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the RushRadio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
It's October at Willis Nissan, and the savings this month are scary good. Lease the stylish Nissan Sentra or the versatile Nissan Kicks for payments so low, we call them fun size. And that's not the only trick up our sleeves this month. Right now, you can get 0% APR on Murano and Pathfinder, or take advantage of customer cash. All those treats, and we won't even make you tell us a joke. Visit us online at willisnissan.com or stop into our showroom today.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.